we're going to begin here in what I call an athletic ready stance. It is how you stand during your training. So I'm going to place the hands to the inside of the high hip bone. This is called the iliac crest. Place the hands to the inside. I want you to make sure those hands are not turned in. Then I'm going to look down and I'm going to line up the inside of the hip bone to the knees, to the ankles. Toes are in the same line as each other. Now I'm going to turn to the side and I'm going to speak to the females in the house in particular. I find a lot of females come into this tipping of the pelvis forward when they train. It's called an anterior pelvic tilt. Well, we actually don't want to do that. We want to come into a subtle, soft, posterior pelvic tilt, pulling the belly button in. It's also known as a pelvic tuck. So that's your athletic ready stance. Now, before we go into the 9 exercises, I want to break down 2 movements for you. One is a squat and one is a deadlift. And the reason is because I find people interchange the form. They're not the same. All right. So I will be facing you and also facing different angles. So for my basic squat, I'm in an athletic ready stance. I bring the arms out in front. I lift the toes inside the shoes. Now you can see my toes are elevated, but I'm not lifting the balls of the feet and the arches, right? Just the toes. I inhale, sit back into a chair, exhale, come up into a posterior pelvic tilt where I'm squeezing the glute facing the side. Inhale, sit back, exhale, come up, posterior pelvic tuck, squeeze glute and the quadricep muscles. I'm going to stay here. A deadlift, fingertips in front of the thighs, toes are lifted, and I'm hip hinging. Got the difference? But I'm also doing the pelvic tuck squeeze. Now, why am I showing you with the toes up? For several reasons, folks. Number 1, we need to show love to our shin muscles. We don't show them any love. And this is why people shuffle like this later on in life. All of this is super tight on them, all right? So we're going to get them to move. We're going to get them activated. And we do this just by lifting the toes. This will affect your balance as well as help your knees. The other part of this is when you have the toes lifted, it transfers the body weight back into the heels. And when I drive up, I'm engaging more of that posterior extensor chain of the body. So it's just a little bit of a tip on what you can do to get the most out of the work. Now, let's come into the first block. We have the kettlebell front squats with the kettlebell gorilla row. So I'm going to take the ball here for those front squats on a diagonal. Find your athletic ready stance. Ball is pretty close to my chin. I have to be mindful that I have a microphone here. And inhale, sit back. Exhale, up. Pelvic tuck squeeze. So your breath is in and out through the nose. So I inhale to lower, exhale on the effort to come up. I want to pause at the peak of the contraction, right here up top. We're going to do 2 more. Exhale up, 1 more. Toes are lifted and pause. Now, for that gorilla row. A gorilla row is in a forward flexion. So for those of you with the back spine flexion issues, you're going to stay upright. We're going to bring the ball out in front. Inhale, exhale. You lift your chest up to the ball as you pull it in. Inhale, exhale, pull. So this is a pull movement. That means we're working the upper back muscles, rhomboids included, posterior deltoid, the back of the shoulders, as well as your bicep muscles. Now, what is the gorilla row going to look like? Feet a bit wider than the hips, ball out in front, and pull. And pull. We'll do 1 more like this, and pull. Slowly come on up. Now for your next block, just double checking the ball doesn't go away from us. I have the kettlebell kickstand deadlift along with the kettlebell standing incline pec fly. So we're going to grab that ball again, coming into a split stance. Notice the back heel is super high off the floor. It's not this, and it's definitely not a lunge, all right? It's just a split stance. We put the ball directly in front of the thigh, and here it is, up and forward. So I'm coming up and forward. Why am I doing that rather than straight up? Because I'm putting that work right in that glute. And I have to tell you, I don't like this exercise, but I do it because oh my goodness, it gets right into the gluteals. And this is a must for us as we are in healthy, active aging. We need to do kickstand deadlifts, folks. I'm going to do one more. Inhale, exhale, up and forward. Turn sides here. Now this side, I'll be forthcoming. I've had an injury since a little girl here, and it left me with some recurring issues. And so I just have to do the best that I can on this side. But it goes right into that muscle. Listen, a lot of times, females in particular fall later in life because of weak gluteals. Not only because of it, but oftentimes it has to do with it. They cannot hold themselves up. So we have to get you stronger there. One more. Woof. Even without resistance, it's a little nasty. Okay, now let's come into that standing pectoral. This is your chest muscle, incline fly. So we're going to bring the arms out like so. Just double check your circumstance that you don't bang into anything. And I'm going to scoop up and under the breast tissue. Scoop up and under. Now I'm going to tell you something. When you're holding those kettlebells, woo, mama, you're going to feel a lot of the core muscles. So here's a true false, Amy. Core muscles are your abdominal muscles.
Ooh. Okay, Green Warriors. Type in your guess. Say it one more time so that they can hear
Core
it.
muscles are your abdominal muscles.
Yeah, because people say work your core, and people think
core. One more like this. That's right.
Abdominal.
That's right.
Sid says false. That's what I say.
She listened. She listened. Thank you, Sid. So what do we have again? Core muscles, abdominals, back erectors, gluteals, quadricep, and pelvic floor muscles. How about that? And when you put that kettlebell in your hand, they're all going to be talking at you. Okay, so for the next block, we have a kettlebell swing, and we have kettlebell delt abduction, adduction. So the swing, here we go. This is how I'm going to show you how to use this ball with it. When you have something of weight, okay, this is how you're going to approach it. You don't have to approach it this way when you don't just using the ball, but I want to demonstrate it with the ball. For some people who don't want to use a kettlebell, they could also use a weighted ball, by the way. So I'm going to bring the ball to the floor, a bit out in front of me. I keep the head up. As I inhale, I swing through, exhale up, and I continue like that. I'm coming up vertically. Now, I want to show you something. I would never stop like that if I had the kettlebell, but I want you to see something. What is this movement, Amy? It's a deadlift, is it not?
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right.
It's a deadlift. No question about it.
But you've got that thrusting movement.
That's right.
So it's kind of disguised.
That's right. Two more. And notice I'm not having you do this stuff, right? We're not bringing it up and overhead. So
but you're using mostly your hips when you're doing that movement more than
hips.
You're not trying to lift your arms up though.
All of that is involved. It's all involved, right? So all these many muscles involved, but hips is a big, big factor here. Okay, it's it's hip and back extension. The next one is the kettlebell delt abduction adduction. So deltoids, all right, abduction, ABD, going away from the midline of the body, adduction, ADD, going toward the midline. When you are holding those kettlebells, that's why I only use 5-pounders on this, because it is an extraordinary amount of weight and work, but it's excellent. So working those strong shoulder muscles. It's also a nice option, by the way, for those who have rotator cuff issues and who might have pinched nerve. I'm going to go for 2 more like this. Pause at the peak. Control it down. Notice I go slow and controlled. And slowly take it down. Before we go on, in between the blocks, you can take your stretches or even this gentle type of shoulder roll. Now, the next 2 exercises I kind of created, but I like them because they work, all right? And, but I do have to say, caution, please, those of you with medial epicondylitis, which would be golfer's elbow, or lateral epicondylitis, tennis elbow, please. So I'm going to set my arms here at a 90-degree bend at the elbow. I'm going to stay like that. Now, you'll be holding your kettlebells here, right? And I'm going to scoop the arms up so the elbows are just slightly higher than the shoulders. And then I scoop them back down. But I am not changing that position of the forearm, right? What you don't see me doing is this. No, I want this. So we're working the biceps isometrically. We're working the forearms, traveling back up, front deltoid. Scooping up, pause. Slow on the down. I'm going to take a couple of more like this. 1 more. Now, coming to what I call the tricep lift and push the wheelbarrow. Now, I have students who are farmers. They deal with pushing and pulling wheelbarrows as part of their activities of daily living. So I'm going to take my arms, turn the palms toward each other. I'm going to bring the bent elbows back. Notice the wrist and elbow down on the same line as each other. I am not leaning forward. I lift and push. Lift and push. I am not doing a kickback. I am not doing a kickback. This is an intense exercise, posterior deltoids, back of the shoulders, again, the upper back muscles, and triceps. Slow and controlled. So you're pushing that wheelbarrow away, lifting it, and push. 1 more of each. Inhale, exhale, push. Easy as you lower down. Take a couple of shoulder rolls. Last exercise, the last block is the 9th exercise. That's right, Amy, you got it. It's the round the body pass. So whenever you pass off the kettlebell, it's in front of you or behind you. You want to hold your body steady. You don't want to be rocking all over the place. So I'm just passing the fit ball. You can have, I've done this where I demonstrated with a 5-pound weighted exercise ball. Now I'm going to reverse direction. So now you can see how it's kind of, sort of, a superset unto itself. Hold steady. All right, now let's move into the actual work with the kettlebells. And I'm going to just get rid of this thing because we're not going to need it. So first block, kettlebell, front squats with kettlebell, gorilla row, 15-pounders, on my front squat. That means I got 30 pounds in front of me now, folks. This means I got to be slow and controlled and in breath. Athletic ready stance, toes lifted. Inhale, sit back. Exhale, pelvic tuck, squeeze at the top. Two more. Careful when you lower them down, especially if they're heavier. Now, for my kettlebell gorilla row. Now, you know, those of you know with the back spine issues, you're not going to do it this way. You're going to stay upright. I'm using 20 pounders. I'm going to introduce the concept of both bilateral and unilateral work with you here. So we bend, bilateral, that's 1. Unilateral, 2, 2, 3. So now you understand how your count would be. Keep that head up. You're not looking at the floor. 7, 8, 8. Lower down. Carefully come back up. Back to the kettlebell front squats. Let me just make sure they don't fall. There we go. And I'm going to go in a bit of a diagonal for you. And inhale. Exhale. Squeeze it all up top. Close to the chin. One more. Man, do I feel it. Easy as you lower. A lot of work there on the forearms, by the way. And this is no joke the way that I am breathing. It is, what you're hearing is authentic. Compound movements, folks. Bilateral and unilateral. Seven, one more. And slowly take it up. Next is the kettlebell kickstand deadlift. So I'm going to go back to, I'm going to show you 2 ways of how to handle the weights on this. The kickstand deadlift, along with that kettlebell standing incline pec fly. So the subtle split stance, I have 15 pounders. This is called a suitcase grip. Up and forward. Oh, God. 2 more. Hold here. Turn to the side. Could Sid write us a note? Is she on tonight? Sid, can you answer the question?
Tell us in the comments if you're on tonight. And I think that when you were demonstrating this earlier, she wanted to know if that exercise works both glutes or just the one leg.
Primarily the one leg, primarily. What did she say there? I didn't see that note.
Yeah, she hasn't answered the question yet. So
okay. And hold here. Now, thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. I don't know if she has a presentation tonight.
Sid does have she's going to be on tonight for the final coaching series. Ooh.
I'm coming, girlfriend.
Yep, Sid's been on my broadcast, and she does a lot of cooking demos, and also, let me just get you doing the incline pec fly here.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited to watch. She and Vicky Brett got my buddies.
That should be outstanding.
So right here, oh, a ton of core. Couple more. One more. Okay, back to the kettlebell kickstand deadlift. Let me show you how to do this with one weight. So for this, I'm using a 20-pounder right in front of you. So one was the suitcase grip alongside. Now it's directly in front of the leg. I mean, it literally is touching my thigh and my leg. And for those of you who do not know, the leg anatomically is from just below your knee down to the top of the ankle. One more. Oh, Amy, whose idea was this? Okay. And so, oh, yeah, we're working it, baby. Up and forward. Hip hinge, up and forward. Now, some people play with lifting the back foot. But when you have heavier and heavier weight, you got to see if that works or not. Oh, man. One more. Oh, back to that pec fly, right? The standing incline pec fly. Let's give you a diagonal. Puff up the chest. Right here, you don't want to collapse the chest. When the arms are out in front, pause at the peak. Careful here now, carpal tunnel syndrome. No wrist extension. Two more. I'm going two more now. Oh, yeah. Okay. Next block, we have, what do we have? Yes, the kettlebell swing. I'm going to use a 20-pounder. With the kettlebell delta abduction, adduction, I'll be using 5. So the swing like so. So here we go. I'm going to face you so you can see. Well, let me go back a little bit because we want that kettlebell a little bit out in front, right? So here we go. Through the legs, exhale. Don't forget, it's a deadlift. One more. Easy as you set it down. Get it out of the way. We don't want it on the floor. It could be an obstruction for you. Delta abduction, adduction. So plug the arms into the shoulder sockets. Notice I'm starting 10 to 15 degrees from the sides of the body. That's just for those of you who have rotator cuff or the pinched nerve issues. I like to do it this way because it's just more challenging for me. It's very easy to swing the arms around. We don't want to do that. We want to place it. Two more. Again, carpal tunnel syndrome. Pay attention here. No wrist extension. Oh, yeah, baby. I'm a sweating now, Amy. Okay, let's take it back to the kettlebell swing. I'm going to do it on a diagonal this time. Notice the feet are wider than the hips. Out in front. Inhale, exhale. All the way up. Meaning you stand vertical. Two more. Out in front. Walk toward it. Put it away. Now we're going to go for the delta abduction, adduction. Step away from the weights. We want those strong shoulders, folks, to be able to reach up and into a high shelf in a closet or in your kitchen cabinet to put things away. But we also want to be able to take them back down without them falling on us. Oh, one more. Ooh la la. All right, next block. In between, for the moment, I need some shoulder rolls. So for the next block, we have the kettlebell bicep scoop with the tricep lift and push. 90 degrees. Careful here for carpal tunnel. Careful here for golfers and tennis elbow. So you notice I keep checking into the camera to see what I'm doing. 2 more. Carefully set them down. I'm going to try and see what it feels like to level up today on the tricep lift and push with 8-pounders. So we come behind us and we lift and push. Let me come this way so I can just see something for the moment. Yeah. And push. We don't want to look down at the floor. We don't want to come into a forward head posture. Whew. One more. Oh. Easy does. Back to the bicep scoop. De-doop. Okay, 90 degrees. Lots of forearm here. Lots and lots of core. So much core. Front deltoid. There's even some pectoral muscle involved. Oh, one more. And back to tricep lift and push the wheelbarrow. Whew. 2 more. Oh. And slowly in. Whew, I think we have one more. Yes, okay, we are on our last block unto itself. This will be the kettlebell around the body pass. So I'm using 1 10-pounder because it's got a big fat handle, folks. That's why. And I'm a little more comfortable doing this with a bigger handle. I went a little bit straighter. Going to reverse direction now. Reverse again, right? That's 2 sets then. Opposite. Last one. And release. And now let's do a cool down. So let's take some nice big shoulder rolls. Please do not do elbow pumps. I see a lot of that. I want you to lift to your earlobes. We also want to avoid looking down when you shoulder roll, because then you're not really going to get the full benefit of the movement. Now I'm going to inhale, push the arms out. So I'm pushing the walls away from me. Exhale, hold. Not for you, carpal tunnel. You're going to straighten those wrists and reach out through your middle fingers. For the rest of us, wrist extension. And then inhale, thumbs down. Exhale, interlock all 10 fingers behind you. Clasp the thumbs. Draw the palms together. Avoid this, please. Some people are super tight and they will do this, thinking, oh, I'm going really far back. No, what you folks can do is basically take a yoga strap, bring it behind you, hold on to it with your hands a bit wider than your shoulders, nice and taut, and simply slide the hands back and hold. That's an option for you, all right? Also, I want to do a lateral flexion. So you stand with your feet slightly wider than the hips. Inhale, slide down. Turn your right ribs away from the floor so you're not collapsing the right side organs. Sternum, breastbone toward the ceiling. Exhale. For those of you with rotator cuff or pinched nerve, hand to the waist. For the rest of us, up and over. Do not push your hips out. We're reaching up and down through the middle fingers, stretching the intercostals between the ribs, the obliques at the waist. Inhale, turn the palm up, grab an imaginary hook. Exhale, vigorously reach out and take it to the other side. Inhale, exhale, up and over, hips forward and torso back. Breath in and out through the nose. Inhale, palm up, grab a hook, reach out, exhale, push into the right heel, come up. And now I want to do that back spine extension, the back bend, because there's a lot of forward flexion in this type of work. So standing with the feet wider than the hips. Now I'm going to face the side. Place your hands on your sacrum, the flat triangular plate at the small of the back. But look at the hands here. This is wrist extension. So carpal tunnel, you bring your hands below your butt and now your wrists are straight. So what I'm going to think is I'm sliding my sacrum down toward the heels. Does the sacrum slide? No, it doesn't. But that's what I like to think. Now I'm bending my knees, bringing the hips and pelvis forward, even getting a nice stretch to the abdominals. Remember TIA stroke? You're going to hold it here, roll the shoulders back, and then if you want, you can go for it. You don't have to, right? For some of you, you might want to straighten the knees instead. Inhale, chin to neutral. Exhale, stand up tall. Again, some nice big shoulder rolls. One final movement. It's what I call a belly dance, or maybe Amy would calling it doing the hula. Kind of is like a hula hoop movement, right, Amy? And let's reverse. Because Amy does some great hula hoop work. Reverse direction. And that's what we've got for you here today on the 20th appearance with Amy and I. Be Green with Amy.
Oh,
thank you.
Awesome. What a great workout.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Green Warrior, because you joined us today and your engagement and your support make these classes meaningful and impactful. And I really hope that Angela inspired you to take a closer look at your health choices and your exercise choices and make some positive changes to your health and well-being, because remember, every move we make is an opportunity to make our bodies stronger, just like Angela, and become the healthiest versions of ourselves. So please stay tuned for more empowering content, and please subscribe to my channel. Check out Angela's social media as well. Share our message with others who can benefit, because together as Green Warriors, we can make a meaningful difference in the world.
That's right.
And as a special thank you to all of you, I am offering you 5 free recipes. So all you have to do is go to my website, begreenwithamy.com/join, and I will send you 5 free recipes along with me doing some fun little exercise things that I'm working on. And I'll give you some motivational messages too. And I would like to invite all of you to take your right hand and grab your left shoulder, and take your left hand and grab your right shoulder. Now squeeze, because that's a hug from me to you, Angela, because we need to spread love in this world. And if you want to join me with Angela, you can type in my comments there, my tagline. Are you ready, Angela?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So until I see all of you again, remember, be strong, be well, and be green.
Green! Thank you, Amy!
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Green Warriors. Always a pleasure to see you all on the broadcast. Take care.
Looking for really tasty recipes that are SOS free? No sugar, oil, or salt. How can it taste good? Well, if you like flavor, then you'll love this Be Green with Amy recipe ebook. Get your copy today. Click on the link in the show notes. Be strong, be well, and be green.